Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Nick from Rise of Sports, and I'm back with another video today, breaking down the NBA All-Star game that just finished a couple days ago, and kind of break it down, kind of my thoughts on it. I mean, there's a lot of different opinions on the state of the All-Star game and like what people are saying about it. It's not the best, so let's get into it, and I'll give you my take. All right, so obviously this is the final score of the game, and I blew it up a lot so y'all can see it. 184-175 was the final score of the game. So very, very high scoring game, as you can see. I mean, Team Giannis got 59 in the final quarter here, and it was very interesting because with the fourth quarter, how they do it, they don't score as much because they have a set like target number they go to, and that is the reason for the extended or at least not extended. That's the reason for the lower scoring. But if it was a full quarter, it would be probably in the 200s. So that's never happened before that I looked up while it was going on. I wanted to see what the highest scoring All-Star game was. In 2016, I think the Western Conference scored 196 or 197. I can't exactly remember, but so pretty insane. But 184-135, a high scoring game. Let's look at the stats real quick. So Jason Tatum was the MVP, 55 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Played the most out of, I think, probably anybody. Look at team. Yeah, the most of anybody. Giannis obviously had a wrist injury, so he didn't play at all, except for the first minute where he scored a bucket, and then he's like, I'm out. 40 points for Donovan Mitchell, so big outburst for him. 26 for Lillard, just was shooting threes the entire night. And then a couple other players with double figures, but not a whole lot going on. And then for LeBron obviously played until halftime, and then he exited because of a finger injury. And then Joel Embiid, 32 points, Kyrie, 32, Jaylen Brown, 35, 11 for Randall, 12 for Anthony Edwards, 18 for Halliburton. So, and then some of the reserves didn't play a lot, like De'Aaron Fox, Jaren Jackson Jr. did not really get to play that much. Then on Giannis's team, Shea and Drew Holiday didn't play a whole lot, even though Drew Holiday for Giannis was like his second pick. And I feel I feel like that was a bad pick. If you didn't know that this year the All-Star teams were picked, or I guess the players were picked right before the game started. So it's very interesting how that ended up happening. They got picked right before the game started, starters and reserves. So all we knew was LeBron and Giannis would be on different teams. We had no idea who would be on what team. But anyway, so it was a high scoring game. I just want to get all this out of the way, my recap, before I go into what I think about it. But yeah, so I guess let's just go in. It's going to be hard to do this without just giving my take. So my take on the All-Star game is, if you're a fan of really high scoring and no defense, this is your game to watch. I'm not sure how many people love that. I am more of a fan of high scoring basketball, football, whatever sport. If it's higher scoring, I'm all for it. In any sport, even golf, when players are shooting in the mid 60s, low 60s, I like to watch that type of stuff. So if it's really high scoring, I like to watch it. This is kind of my limit, though. I do not appreciate how little defense is being played. I've heard a lot of people say that there needs to be more intensity. Couple reasons. First reason, you're an all-star. Like, you want to show your skills, obviously. But I think you need to show your skills on both ends of the floor. Like, showing your skills on offense is great, but it's not really skills if nobody's guarding you. Like, any NBA player, I feel like, can do a lot of what they're doing. I mean, obviously, a lot of these guys are more skilled than a lot of normal NBA players. They can make shots further away from the basket at a higher rate, and they can make crazy dunks and throw crazy passes that not everybody can. However, if you're not being guarded, who really cares? Like, I don't care that somebody can do an alley-oop off the backboard, and then the dunker, does a windmill off of that. Like, that doesn't really impress me if there's nobody guarding them. Now, if there's a lot of defense and you pull off something like that, that's insane. Just like watching college basketball, for example, there's a lot of times where there's a lot of exciting plays, but the reason they're exciting is because people are being guarded really tight. And when something big happens, like a big dunk or a big long range shot where, you pull off a dribble move and you get open, like that's really cool. But in the All-Star game, there's nothing like that. I mean, they're playing like literally. I think I saw one time when Kyrie Irving just literally just dribbled like in and out of players, and the players didn't even stop him. They just let him go around and get a layup. It's like that's not fun to watch. So for me, as a consumer of watching this game, I'm not really that interested in seeing cool plays because I'm like, oh, well, of course they're going to do that because nobody's guarding them and they're super talented. That's my take on it. I don't really like watching stuff like that. Um, and really, I was shocked. My kind of second point is I was shocked by usually in an All Star game, it's gone downhill from back in the 80s and 90s when it was really tough. But even a couple years ago, towards the end of the game, there would be more defense. I didn't feel like there was any defense the entire game up until the last minute. Like there was the stretch where Team LeBron could have cut the lead to 3 points. Obviously they lost by 9, but they could have cut it to 3. But instead, they let the other team score and keep scoring without even trying to guard them. I'm like, if you're trying to win the game, then wouldn't you want to guard them and try to score? Like, I don't know. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And that's from like a very practical standpoint and a very like consumer based standpoint. Like going to the player side of things, they're getting paid. I think they each get paid like $100,000 or something to participate in the All-Star game. Or if you made it to 3-point contest, dunk contest, skills, I'm pretty sure you get paid something for that. I know Mac McClung for winning the dunk contest won $100K. And I think I heard somewhere that the All-Stars that made it to the game make $100K as well. If you're getting paid all that money, wouldn't you want to I guess not from a player's perspective, wouldn't you from an NBA perspective want to see a better game? Like if you're paying all these players this money, you're kind of just watching them have offensive highlights. Like I would want the game to be entertaining. Now from a player standpoint, I would want the game to be, tough and I would want people to see my skill level on both ends. And I heard on the radio today when I'm recording this that, back in the 80s when it was Magic, Bird, and Michael, like they went at it. And like if you won MVP, they said in an All-Star game, you were like one of the best. Like that was impressive. Like there was no scoring 55 points like Jason Tatum did. If you scored 30 points, then you were like the best of the best because you were getting guarded by the best of the best. And now it's kind of just like, oh yeah, if you can jump really high and make all kinds of acrobatic plays and shoot the ball really well, that's all you need. You don't need defense. Like let's take Jaylen Brown for example. Yeah, he's a great player. Like Jaylen Brown is a awesome player, probably the best number 2 in the league. I would argue probably the best number 2 in the league. He's not Ja Morant or Anthony Edwards type of athlete. Like he's a very, very good athlete, but he is not like a guy who's gonna blow you away with his amazing athleticism. Now he's very good. He's a very good athlete, but I'm saying he's probably not in the top 5 to 10 athletes in the NBA. He is one of the best defenders in the NBA though. But with him, he can also shoot the ball. He can also finish at the rim. He can also shoot mid. He can do a lot of stuff. But for a guy like him, or like, I guess a better example would probably be Jrue Holiday. He is a decent shooter. He's a good passer, but he is great at defending the ball. That's what he's good for. He didn't play very much in this game, but he can't really do a whole lot. Like, he's not a guy that you're gonna see like, wow, he's amazing in an all-star game like this. Or like Nikola Jokic. He's a great example too, because he's a great offensive player. He's a great passer. Can't really jump that well. He can shoot pretty well, but he can't really play defense. And so he's kind of marginalized in this game. Like, you can't really do much. Like, if you look at Jokic, he had played 20 minutes, he had 5 rebounds, 6 assists, but he only had 4 points. That's kind of what he's going to do in an all-star game. You're not going to see him, you know, catching lobs off the backboard. Like, that's just not what he does. And so with players like that, and he even said it, he's like, I'm not meant for this type of game. Like, he's really not. And like, I feel like with the All-Star game, you should be able to get players that are good at different things, like good defensive players, and have them have an impact in the game. And I don't feel like that's happening now, that it's just an offensive thing. It's really, to me, it's really sad that the All-Star game has become the Pro Bowl of the NFL. Now the Pro Bowl this year was flag football. Like, who wants to watch flag football? Like, I don't, that's just not fun to me. Like, I want to see some like really good throws. I want to see some big defensive hits and some crazy interceptions in the Pro Bowl, but I don't want to see, I want to showcase, I want to see players and athletes' skills like showcased. And I don't feel like that's really happening in the NBA anymore. I feel like it's just an offensive thing. If you can jump high and catch love off the backboard, if you can shoot the ball from anywhere, this is your game. Other than that, though, it's not really a defensive thing, and I wish it would be, I guess, is my main point. So let me know if that made any sense. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it today. But I think the All-Star game should be like it was back in the day, where it should be an actual like contest where you're showcasing your skills and you're going at it wanting the crown, instead of just saying, oh yeah, if we win this quarter. And now they're doing like charity, which is awesome, at the end of quarters. The players aren't really playing very hard for it, I don't feel like. I feel like they're like, oh yeah, if we win the quarter, whatever. I don't know. I just feel like there's no like passion in the All-Star game anymore. So let me know if that makes any sense in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next Rise Up Sports.